Bottom of this Shannon Sharpe situation. I have my thoughts on it, but I want to watch it. I've seen the Breakfast Club already. I've seen all these social media posts, but I want to watch it from Stephen A's point of view, and I'm gonna give you a little context of why, because Stephen A essentially took Shannon Sharpe under his wing at ESPN, right? Making movies together, make business decisions together. And when I say movies, I mean like content, like great content, not actual motion picture films. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So I want to hear from his perspective how he feels on everything that's going on, and I'm gonna give my takes on it, of course, too. So Shannon, it, I'm gonna just play. I'm just play.
And of course, iHeartRadio. As always, thanking all of y'all for y'all support for watching the show and what have you. 1.8 million because of where I have to get started and where I have to. It's involving some news that broke yesterday
All right.
involving Shannon Sharpe, my colleague at ESPN and my friend. The Hall of Fame tight end was sued on Sunday by a woman proceeding under the name Jane Doe pseudonym. The 13-page civil complaint filed in Nevada alleges that Sharpe committed assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery. The plaintiff alleges Sharpe sexually assaulted her several times at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. The suit also alleges that Shannon engaged in the intentional infliction of emotional distress. It should be noted that the suit was filed by attorney Tony Busby. This is the same attorney that filed a suit against Jay-Z and P. Diddy, alleging they both sexually assaulted a minor, which has since been withdrawn. Jay-Z also has countersued Busby. By the way, the plaintiff in the Sharpe civil suit is not the woman heard in the accidental Instagram live stream incident that made headlines last September of last year. In response to the suit, Shannon and his legal team went to social media yesterday and released a series of allegedly sexually explicit text messages between him and the Jane
Pause
Doe.
if you need to read
In
that.
addition to
I've
this,
seen it
they
already.
issued the
So
following statement. Quote, this lawsuit, filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and
it's not
misrepresentations,
Jane Doe
and it will
anymore.
not
Okay.
succeed, end quote. Then earlier today, Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby,
Wait,
sent
what?
TMZ Sports a 1 minute and 36-second clip of an alleged conversation between his client and Shannon. In response to that clip, Shannon Sharpe went back to social media and issued this response. Take a look.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I wouldn't myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly, on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about, and I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Well, it's a sad situation.
I agree.
Shannon Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. Works on First Take, which airs on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. He's been with me every Monday and Tuesday. We've been number one for 13 years and counting. But since Shannon has arrived, obviously he's helped the show immensely. And I can't thank him enough for it. We've grown close as friends. I'd like to believe that. I certainly root for him. I know he's been through a lot in life. He's overcome a lot of things. And when he departed from Fox, I was more than happy to bring him on board here. So all I can speak about is what I know based on the reports. and I can speak about ESPN and Disney. To be clear, even though this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Take. So I sit here before.
Real quick note. That mentality needs to be adopted by a lot of people, right? Just because you're on a platform like this, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, and you have like other things going on like sponsorships or something like that, bro, some stuff you just can't say to, you know what I mean? It's professionalism. It's not about being fake. You know what bro, it's a certain way you got to conduct yourself on the internet, in my opinion. And if you don't want these brand deals going away, if you don't want, endorsements, if you don't want potential doors opening for you, then conduct yourself in the opposite way off the internet. It's that simple. Like, people, nobody's telling people to not be themselves. Just don't act like that when you're represented by other people, other companies and things like that, because it could, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know why people can't understand that. Think you selling out or you fake because you won't say something along the lines of either how you did in the past or, whatever the case may be. I don't like that, bro. I don't like that. You're trying to get in the way of the bag, and that's a violation on your part. Not you, but like people that do that. You know what I mean? My fault.
Before you today, letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach because I owe them that courtesy. With that being said, it's important to point out a couple of things. Number one, I was not there. I am not.
As I was.
I can provide no eyewitness account.
Same.
And even though I got love and respect for Shannon Sharpe, and I'm sincerely hopeful and prayerful that he is completely innocent of the allegations that have been levied against him.
Same.
I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt.
Same.
From a knowledgeable place because I have nothing to do with this. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person.
Right.
I know what the reports say. I know the reports, the things that have been reported on a multitude of outlets, from the AP to the New York Post to Forbes to TMZ and everything in between. I mean, I can't even count the number of publications that have talked about it or written about it, networks, etc. It's all over the internet.
So many.
It's everywhere. And I know that. I'm fully aware of that. This is not a criminal case.
Civil suit.
So it's not, there is no concern about him going to jail. This is a civil case, which means that he can either be found liable or not liable. The accuser in question is seeking $50 million. That was confirmed by Shannon Sharpe on that video today. According to the reports, it's somebody that he met in 2023, who was 19 years old at that particular moment in time. According to some audio that was put out earlier today by Attorney Busby, you hear the accuser, the female, talking to somebody who is alleged to be Shannon Sharpe. We don't know whether that's true or not. And the person in question, again, we don't know whether it's Shannon or not, the words choke, as in I will choke the hell out of you if I saw you. And so because of that,
right,
knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense.
As he should.
How we interpret that. Let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from. I'm a bit torn.
Me
in
too.
terms of
Not even gonna lie, me too.
his response.
Me too.
On one hand, Tony Busby has sued Jay-Z. He did sue Diddy. He did accuse them, or represented the woman who was accusing them of assault, of sexual assault. And said that she was 13 years of age at the time when talking about Jay-Z and Diddy, and Jay-Z went ballistic and emphatically denied it, wouldn't let it go. The case was dropped, and now he's suing Busby, mentioning words like extortion and other things. So when Shannon Sharpe brought up Mr. Busby in that video that we aired and talked about him being extorted. He brought up Mr. Busby and Mr. Busby's past. And he talked about him, going against African American men. There's two thoughts there. On one hand, there's the Jay-Z, who obviously should be presumed innocent, not just because you should be presumed innocent until found guilty, but because of the manner in which he fought on his own behalf and has been very aggressive in going after Tony Busby. In the case of P. Diddy, you don't know what to believe. Again, the case against Jay-Z was a civil suit. Diddy was a civil suit. But in Diddy, you don't know what to believe because of all the allegations he's facing.
I was just about to say that. The specific lawsuit that they're talking about with Diddy was with Tony Busby. That's not all the other stuff that's going on. Like the Cassie, all that. That's not that. So let's put that into its proper perspective. Okay? Just wanted to say that.
But we can't forget that Tony Busby was
That
also
specific
the person
one, by the way,
that represented at least 24 of the 27 women that accused Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct along with other allegations. And at least 23 of those cases were settled. So we have an obligation to mention that.
For sure.
So on one hand, going on the offensive to defend himself, I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday,
Twitter,
and they spoke about, they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages, that was uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work. One of the hardest things in the world for all of us to do is to just lay low and be quiet. And let our legal team do it. And we don't always know whether or not that's the right thing to do. I know, and I can tell you all, that I spoke to Shannon. Not in details, but I spoke to him. And he emphatically proclaims his innocence.
as you should.
According to Mr. Busby, his client emphatically proclaims his guilt.
As you should.
So where does that leave us?
For she, rather.
I'd love to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but I don't.
Because we don't
I am
know.
the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. But I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on. I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously.
As they should.
And we are looking into this very, very closely.
As they should.
And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there. And that is all he said. And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that. I don't know what that means.
They're going to do their due diligence.
In my perfect world, this equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere, doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, doing Club Shay Shay,
yep.
and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign.
Literally.
Just a couple of days before this report came out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In my
We're getting
perfect
to
world,
that.
he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I don't know where this is going to go. I can't speak to anything else. I don't know who Shannon Sharpe's legal team is and what they're suggesting. I imagine that everything that has transpired has been at the behest of his lawyers, not just himself. I can tell you again that when I spoke to him, he is emphatic in stating his innocence,
As he should be.
that this is a shakedown, to use his words. How wise is it to use those kind of words when a civil matter of this nature is out there?
I think it's very
When you have a
wise. But
podcast and you
hold
have
on,
advertisers
hold
and
on.
sponsors and you work for ESPN and they have advertising sponsors, I don't know. What can we say if any of us were in that position and we felt or were proclaiming we were innocent? I don't know. And I'm not about to pretend. I just wanted to make sure that I echoed to all of you that the only reason I spoke on this issue is because he works with me 2 days a week. He's on national television. He was on national television with me today. He was on national television with me yesterday when the story came out Sunday night. I didn't know anything about it until we got on the air. But he was on air. And if you know him in part because of all the work that he's doing with me and what he's doing in this industry, I know everybody's been waiting, like, Stephen A., what you got to say about this? I got to say what I just told you. I don't know what's happened. I know I got love for the brother. I know that I'm wishing that he's innocent and all of this stuff goes away and he can continue to thrive with me on ESPN and thrive in his own platforms that he worked so diligently over the years to build. But anything else would be entirely irresponsible for me to speak on. And I can't do that. Yes, I own this. This is my platform. But I also have a day job and I also understand what lawyers, what HR, and all of those other things entail. What I said is all I can say. And in all honesty, at this moment, it is all I know. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making a decision. It'll be others upstairs. In the end, all of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be and we own our own business and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses. That's the situation, unfortunately, that Shannon Sharpe finds himself in at this particular moment in time. I sincerely wish him the best. I got love for him. And I hope all of this is just a sad ordeal that goes away because there was no truth to it. But I don't know. Neither do you or the rest of us.
Facts.
And only time will tell what the truth is.
So, first, before I give my thoughts, I want to say that these are my opinions. I know just as much as he does. I don't know, bro. These are my thoughts. I feel like life is all about predictions. It's all about probability, right? Put yourself in the best position to win by doing things that do so. If you want to be a pro athlete, work out as much as you can, study the playbook, be the best you can be on the field, put yourself in the right position to get noticed by coaches. If you want to be good in sales, whatever company, look up the company's product or service, try to figure out the strong points, try to figure out the weak points that people have, the objections, counter those objections, start selling some products or services. Put yourself in the best position to win. Make sales. If you want to be a astronaut, I don't know, go to school for it, learn about, being an astronaut, go to have your internships with NASA, whatever the case may be. Put yourself in a position to be seen by other people that make those decisions to hire astronauts. That level of accountability, that level of, I guess, in a way, self-worth can be reflected here. For me, for my opinions, for my mindset, for what I think is, quote unquote, how to spend my time, I can confidently say that if I am a 50 something year old man, right, there are going to be, and I try not to speak in absolutes, but there are little to no chances or probability that I would be conversing with a 19-year-old in a sexual way. Little to none. I've never bought that, never subscribed to OF, not that freaked out to that extent to do those things. So whether it was OF content, which they said a 10-minute video, I'm going to assume it's OF content since she is a, you know what I mean? Whether it's just, let's say they met on some random site, I don't know, that has some different BDSM stuff going on, like, you know what I mean? That type of thing, and whatever. I find it hard to believe. Well, not, no, I take that part back. I find it kind of, for me personally, I find it out the realm of my possibility to put myself in that situation where I would be going on OF or going on one of those sites to look for somebody to do things like that with. If I'm a 54-year-old, if I'm in my 50s, whatever the case would be, if I'm in my 50s and my kinks are that out there, that far out there, that a 19-year-old is one of the only options that I have, I may have to rethink some things. Me personally, I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not kink shaming. I'm not doing that. I just do not like, how can I put it? I don't like the way this looks for everybody in the situation. I thought I will still think high of Shannon Sharpe. But after reading those text messages, the race baiting, the race play, me personally, I would never do that. I'm not kink shaming. Me personally, that is too far for me. Race playing, race baiting with a 19-year-old is a little wild. Well, it not a little, is wild to me. And I've been watching Shannon for a long time, man. Before Undisputed. And it hurts, bro. I'm not gonna lie, it does. I'm not gonna lie, man, it does. A little bit personal, y'all. When my dad passed away in 2018, Shannon and I never spoke, but the way that he carried himself, the way that he does life, or did life from a public perspective, from a public eye, it was a lot to look up to. It was a lot. And for this to happen, it's just like you never really know people. Granted, I didn't want to know about his sex life, and things like that should be kept private from the public eye. But here we are in 2025. Last year, IG Live incident, 2024. Yeah, it's all, fun and games, laughing. Okay, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? That part, not this. In my opinion, you know what I mean? But it's other stuff to get into as well. The part that I don't like the most is that I seen that $100 million contract looming literally hours before I heard about this stuff. Right? And that got me to thinking. It's kind of convenient how the settling number is at 50 million when that contract was 100. Similar, like what Stephen A said, to other cases that Tony Busby has been a part of. Now, the Deshaun Watson thing, 27 women accuse you. At least, I think, was it 27? At least, whatever. Regardless, the number is insane. Something was going on, bro. Deshaun, hey, it's not funny, but Deshaun, like, come on, bro. Same for my Ravens. Justin Tucker, he got stuff going on similar, bro. It it gets to a point where the chances of it being a coincidence are significantly less. You have there could be a pattern here. You may have a problem. Who knows? But this is I just found it convenient. And I feel like when people think so highly of somebody, they think, oh, they can never do that. This is out the realm of possibility for them. They've done this for the community. They've done this. They've done that. They carry themselves this way. They're a man of God. They're a woman of God. Things like that. The number one rule that I learned in my life is never think it couldn't be you. Never think it can't be them. In that instance, you know what I mean? In this instance, you know what I mean? Don't put nothing above nobody. And it's like whatever I hope, you really can't win. Because me personally, like Stephen A said, I hope that this all just goes away. This is another, allegation that's been withdrawn, whatever. But now it's like this perfectly piece of clean paper right here. Perfectly. It's perfect, right? Crumple it up. Uncrumple it. Yeah, it's still clean. But look at that, bro. Look at that. Nobody's gonna want this. That's one obstacle. Another one is besides smearing his name around and things like that, having a bad stench, like the crumpled paper analogy. Why would you want to just extort somebody like that? Lawyer or client? Obviously, the money rules everything, apparently. Money makes people dangerous, bro. And I'm gonna go somewhere with this too. I remember speaking about something else. Was it involving Shannon? I don't know, but I was thinking like, I was saying, well, not thinking, I was saying all publicity isn't, I mean, all publicity can benefit in certain aspects pretty much. And hold on, stay with me. This type of situation right here, his name going around, going crazy for these types of allegations, right? You don't think that's bringing eyes to other companies, other not other companies, but other like things that Shane has going on, like Club Shay, all the other stuff. They searching up his name and seeing all these clips, things like that. You don't think that's happening? Oh, it is. It is. And I'm not saying that this is a publicity stunt. I'm not, but I'm just saying that type of benefit, as crazy as a word that is to for something like this, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I would, if I had something like this against me, I would take this very seriously. which Shannon is doing. That's why he leaked the text messages and saying, "Oh, there may be a 30-second clip of me doing something with old girl, right?" Released a 10-minute clip. Essentially, he's trying to get in front of everything before everything comes out, presuming his innocence. Like, so there's no like shock factor when everything drops, right? But like Stephen A said at the end of this, what are you gonna do? What would you do if you were in this situation? What would you do? For me, going back to my first point, I'm going to do things in my life. Well, I have done things in my life, and I am currently doing things in my life that there will be a very, very low possibility that I will ever be in this situation. Very, very low. Like I said, I try not to speak in absolutes. Very, very low. I'm never been in a race play, never been into women that younger than me. The youngest I'll go is 2 years younger than me. And even that's a stretch for me. So, you know what I mean? But if I was in this type of situation, I'm doing exactly what Shannon did. Literally the exact same thing. I'm leaking out the text messages. I'm leaking out, I'm gonna make a statement saying this, and this happened. This is what I feel is happening against me, presuming my innocence. And then we're just gonna go from there. I don't know if I would call the bluff though about like the 10-minute video or stuff. Like, I don't know about that, but in a way, I get why he did it, and I feel like that was the right thing to do for him. You know what I mean? But it's just a sad day, man. It really is sad. I hope, even with me saying I hope everything goes like the Jay-Z situation with the same type of allegations. People look at him different. They're looking at him like weird now, and everybody has this like aroma around them, and it's just you just shake your head like, damn, he was involved with this, you know. And a bigger issue that happens a lot in the community and in the public eye of the world, the community has a far, 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 far tougher time getting over that than other communities in America. Just my opinion. And it sucks, bro. So when I say that, I say, what can you really hope for? Just hope that this trend stops. But bro, the truth will come out and justice will be served. Hopefully.